Finally Together Quilt Shop in Lebanon, Oregon. This was really nice. It was fun to be traveling again and to be back in a quilt shop. The last few months have been pretty hectic, and I've spent very little time in any quilt stores. So it was really nice to be able to go to a new one. And it was extra special because I got to go with my mom when we went to the beach. Our friends invited us, which was very generous of them. And it was also so thoughtful that they invited my mom to go with us. And so she rode with us over and rode with us back. And so it was fun just being able to go through here with her. This is a lovely shop. There were a lot of good reviews for it online. And it is bright and clean, and it was very well laid out. I went in here, I had a specific fabric I was looking for, or pieces from a fabric line for an upcoming project, but the fabric is an older line and I didn't expect to find it, and I didn't, but I was really impressed that they spent quite a bit of time helping me look and double checking and making sure that they didn't have it for me, trying to find something similar that would work. That was really great. I really enjoyed the service they gave me. And I think they have pretty much any kind of fabric. If you're looking for modern, if you're looking for traditional or reproduction or children's fabric or men's fabric, they've pretty much got everything, and they have it. It's really easy to find what you're looking for. I mean, assuming it's not old, and of course they still have it. There's my mom and I. Now, the one downside to this, I would love to go back to this shop. First of all, it was a really great shop. But also, the day that we were traveling home, I was recovering from a migraine. And so the lights are bright. It was hurting my eyes. It's a lot of mental, visual stimulation. It's just quite a bit to deal with a migraine. So I didn't enjoy it from that standpoint as much as I would have otherwise. So I would love to go back when I'm feeling better so that I could enjoy it fully. And I'm glad that Keith took this video, because now I get to see things that I either didn't notice or completely didn't see that day. Hadn't noticed the t-shirts at all. Those are really cute. I think this whole section was something I must have missed. So this shop was established in 2003. So they've been around for a while. They know what they're doing. And they do it well. There are so many quilts hung up inside on the outside walls. There's so much to see. It is like a quilt show. That might be one of the best things about going to quilt stores. They're all like their own little quilt show. I do remember seeing the area here with all the bag making patterns and bag making supplies. I love that stained glass quilt with the tree. That's so pretty. If you're ever in the area and you get the chance, I think you should try to stop at this quilt shop. And I think you'll love it. I hope you get a chance to visit it. And I hope I'll get a chance to go back sometime. And one that has little Vikings. Isn't that cute?
That is cute.
This is the fat quarter that I chose at Finally Together Quilt Shop in Lebanon. Loved their shop. They have great reviews online, and I can understand why. This one I chose because it looks like pebbles, and we were there at the coast on our way home from the coast where Sai and I were collecting rocks, so that's why I chose that fabric. Keep realizing after the fact that I have been forgetting to do video. So I've been working on placemats to match my table runner, and I've got them made. I'm now getting batting together for them. I have a lot of these cut off pieces of batting, and so I'm what people call Franken batting them together. And so I have just taken and just barely overlapped them. You can see just a little bit of an overlap, and then I've pinned it. I used to pin less often, but then the pins would come out, so I pin it fairly often. And then I'm going to do a little zigzag stitch and just stitch it together. I will double check it afterwards. If there's anything really hanging out a lot, then I will cut it off, but pretty much it seems to do a really good job. And when I've done it on the quilts I've done it, you can't feel it. It doesn't make a lump or anything else. But then I get to use up some of these pieces of batting, and for things like my placemats, I'm not 100% certain what kind of batting this is, and I figure for something like that, small, doesn't particularly matter if all of them end up being exactly the same content. So if I'm doing a larger quilt, I want to know, and so I'm saving my larger pieces of batting for a larger project, for a quilt. And so I'm going to go work on that and get this together, and then I'll show you. So when I'm doing Franken batting, or when I'm looking for batting, I actually have a bin that I have scraps in. And so I just have a little card that I've written down kind of some sizes, because I got tired of trying to find, do I even have anything that works for this? And on that I wrote myself a note so that I remember how big of a zigzag I want. So this is definitely a time to use a walking foot. So I'm going to switch that out. And I'm going to change the color of my thread so that it's not so dark. It probably doesn't matter for this as much, but there is some light colored fabric in the middle of the placemats, and I don't think that this gray would show through, but I want to make sure it doesn't. Okay, so then I want to do a zigzag stitch. It's going to be 4 wide, and I want it, my stitch length, to be about 2. Put that there for the moment. Do this to start it. The trickiest part, especially if you have a piece that gets of any size, is trying to make sure that you don't end up stabbing yourself with pins or end up knocking them out and losing them and then stepping on them later. Although I do wear shoes. This isn't necessarily a speedy process, so I don't know if it's really all that economical, but it feels like it's saving me money. Otherwise, I have all these pieces that I feel like they're too big to throw away. They're too small to actually use.
Almost done. Okay. Get a little starter piece cut off of there. So you can see it just makes a nice zigzag. It does the same back here. Every once in a while you end up with a little tiny bit over, but there's not much there. Not something I'm going to worry about for this project. So that's the Franken bat. Now I'm going to go lay out my placemats and see how many I can get on this. Another one that I did here, a Franken bat. Obviously you can see they weren't equal pieces, so it goes down on a diagonal. But this one I laid over and I stitched it, and as you can see, there is a bunch of fabric left over where that overlapped. And so this would leave a hump in the middle of it. You would definitely be able to tell there's a bump there. And so I'm going to take my scissors, actually probably these scissors, smaller and a little more precise. And I will come in here and I will trim that, trying to get really close, but not so close that I cut the stitches, because then you have to stitch it again. I don't want to have to do that. So I will just stitch the excess, or trim the excess here away from the stitching. You just have to be careful doing this because you don't want to trim the stitches and you don't want to cut through what you just stitched together. So that's how you do it, and then you just end up with what you had before. And there, that's trimmed. A smidge more here. So today I'm working a little bit on placemats. I have these just about quilted. It's a little late in the year probably for what most people would consider, but I do like at the beginning of the year to kind of figure out what I'm working on and where I'm at on my projects. And of course with my dad's passing, I didn't really worry about the beginning of the year, but I did make a list the other day, pulled out my projects, mostly because someone had asked me about something and it made me remember one, and then when I went to look for it I couldn't find it. So then I got to wondering where in the world it was, and so I pulled out pretty much everything that I had that I have started that is at some point in progress. It didn't count. I have a couple things that I have kind of kitted together fabric that I want to start, but I haven't actually started them, so I didn't count anything like that. And I did, after I was done, put everything away. I did find one or two other things that I'd forgotten about, but for the most part, my UFOs, my unfinished objects, I had a list of 27, which I wasn't real happy about. It's more than I would like. But I also did notice that there are a number of those, I think it was 11 actually, that I just crossed off my list with pencil because they are things that are things that I don't know. I mean, I don't want to get rid of them. I think I do still want to finish them at some point, but I don't have any plans to finish them anytime in the near future. I either don't know what I want to do with them, or I just don't care about them enough at the moment to finish them, but I think I do at some point, so I just crossed those off. So that left 16. And then I realized going through those that I do have several that are, they would be really quick to finish. So I made a little list of my quick to finish items, and posted it on my wall, on my design wall at the moment, although I'll probably find a better place for it, so that when I have some time or I feel like I just need to work on something else, that would be something that would be a good thing to work on, because that would be a few things that I could just knock out real quick. And so I figured, besides working on the placemats, which is one of my quick to finish items, I would show you, I think it's 3 other things I have. Yes, 3 other things besides the placemats that would be pretty quick to just knock out. So I'm going to pause here for a second, and I'll show you those. Okay, this is one you might have seen hanging on my wall. I just have it pinned up there because it was pretty and I like to look at it, and I figured that would make me want to finish it sooner. And it's just pretty much sitting there taunting me, saying, I'm so close, just finish me. This was a online quilt, a stitch along that's wool flowers. It was the first time I'd actually done wool applique. I've always been intrigued by it, but I felt like the wool was kind of expensive and I wasn't sure I wanted to invest the money in it if I didn't love it. I did really enjoy it, but I think mostly I want stuff that I can just throw in the wash, and I'll probably do some more again at some point. But anyway, this one I just simply need to get it quilted and get the binding on it, and it will be done. So that's the first quick to finish. Okay, this is another one that is going to be quick to finish. I'm not sure exactly how old this one is. It's probably somewhere in the 2010 to 2013 range, somewhere hopefully I wrote down. I had done another quilt that had an embroidered border like that, and I really liked it, and I kind of wanted to make my own. And so that's part of what started this. Also, I have this fabric and this fabric were ones that I loved, and I loved how they looked together with a little bit of pink, but I only had a tiny bit of the fabric, and so I wanted to be able to put it in a quilt before I ended up using the scraps and it was all gone. And I'd also wanted to try something that had a little bit of pink and brown in it, so that's where this one came from. And again, I just need to quilt it. I haven't done it because I've been afraid of ruining it, because machine quilting is not my thing, as I've mentioned before. And I like how this looks. I think it's really pretty and I don't want to screw it up. But I finally decided it's just sitting in a drawer. I'm never getting to see it. I would much rather risk screwing it up and getting the quilting done and having it hanging up where I can see it and enjoy it. And so that's what I'm hoping to do. This will be a quick finish. Okay, and this is the last of mine that are super quick finishes. There are several others that will be fairly quick to finish, but they're not quite as far along. This one is probably my oldest quilting UFO. If you look closely, you can see that is 2000. This is Y2K fabric. It was done back in 1999, I believe. I had a group of friends where we were living at the time that we did round robin quilts together, and a couple of us had decided we were going to do a miniature one. So the little block in the center was my block, and this is what I got. And I always thought I wanted to add a little bit more. I have, again, this is hard to see, but this fabric right here, I have a little tiny piece of it. I think I originally had a 10-inch square or maybe an 8-inch square of it, and it's all I had. But I thought the fabric was just beautiful, and I wanted to do something to bring it from here out to the border. And anything I tried, I just haven't been happy with. So again, it's been stuck in a box for 25 years because I didn't want to screw it up, and I just kept hoping I would find more of that fabric. And obviously I never have. I'm not going to. And so I thought, you know what, again, I would just like to get it done. And I was at first going to try to add some other borders, and I thought, no, I like it just as it is. This is what me and my friends did. This is where it stopped. And so I'm I'm going to layer it and quilt it and put binding on it, and that's it. So especially with the size it is, it's going to be quick to finish. And so that's my main quilts that I have that will be quick finishes that you might see in and amongst working on my placemats and my gnome quilt and my trip quilt, because obviously those are, again, ones I need to just get done. I didn't count any projects that I have that are upcoming. I do have a couple things that are getting ready to start and that I might work on occasionally, but those are my main focus, because if I can get those done, they're off the list. And that would be 3 things that I could do. Honestly, I think in 3 days, I could just get those done. I think they would take about a day a piece, maybe a day and a half. So that's where I'm at on my projects, and I'm going to get back to work on my placemats. Thanks for joining me.